Hello, beautiful Earth Angels. My name is Joanna. Welcome to Team Joanna. If you are new, welcome. I hope you like what you see, what you hear, and I hope you stay. And if you would like, click that subscription button. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much. Without you, I wouldn't do this, and I absolutely love what I do. So to get the intention out of the way, for those of you who are new, I state intention every time I do a video such as this, just so that we are, from the very beginning, making sure that we're both on the same line. If I am giving you something that you are not looking for, then the message is not for you. On the other hand, if you're not sure what your intention is, you might find that I say something that may make you go, that's interesting. So have an open mind. Most of the messages, I shouldn't say that. Some messages may not make sense to you at the time when you hear it, but it may make sense to you down the road. So make sure you listen to it later if it makes no sense. But for most of you, I feel this is going to make a lot of sense right away, because what I actually feel is that this energy is very much a continuation of the last, I want to say, 2 to 3 weeks, except I feel very strongly that the intensity and the fluctuations are intensified. At least that is how it feels with me. So this is a weekly pulse for the week of April 27th. For those of you who have birthdays in April, happy birthday to you. Mine also is in April 25th. And thank you for your wishes, by the way. Some of you have sent me messages. Thank you so much. So this is going to be a week of April 27th, but as we know, we can't fit energies in a box, and this will likely continue for the next few weeks, if not few months. As a matter of fact, this energy feels very much like it will continue for the rest of this year. And as I'm saying this out loud to you, my part of my mind goes, what? Because it isn't particularly comfortable, according to me. So for me, the last few days, particularly the last week of April 22nd, I believe it is, has been quite interesting. I will use the term stuck, which is not something you have not heard before or probably felt before yourself, but it was a different level of stuckness, almost like the word stuck doesn't give it justice, because maybe I can find it. What's a different word that I could use? The feeling is that I am attempting to do something, but I'm not sure quite what it is, which is kind of strange or peculiar, because it feels like, for me, like I have literally lost my touch with everything that I believe in. And the last couple of days while running, I had this distinct feeling that my mind was being dismantled. I literally thought to myself, I think I might be going crazy. And what's different though, or what was different, is when I was having these feelings of my mind being pulled apart, I was watching myself. It's almost like I was watching this happening to another person, but the other person was me. Very difficult for me to put it into words, because it's something I've never felt before. But if you have felt something like this, you will know exactly what I mean. And I remember a couple of weeks ago in one of the weekly pulses, I was mentioning that there is going to be influx of information, and we are going to have to decipher which information is true, which isn't. There was just going to be an overwhelm of information. And I have experienced a lot of that information coming through, almost like an overload of energies, a whole bunch of dump of information. And some about particular things, some about nothing in particular, world events, basically everything. And I came to a point when I literally began to question everything that I heard. I began to question everything I believed, to the point where I was thinking to myself, what is it that I actually believe in? And it was at that moment where I felt, something big is happening. Because when that happens, when we begin to question the very foundation of who we are, that means the identity as we know it is basically changing. And that is not a small thing. So this is what I felt. And I have a feeling quite a few have felt it too. If not, you will probably feel it over the next few coming weeks or few coming months. When you have that, when you do feel it, don't be alarmed. It's not, don't be alarmed, because it's not a bad feeling. It's just very peculiar. And you may have moments where you say to yourself, have I gone crazy? As a matter of fact, I was going to name this video, Have I Gone Nuts? But then I just decided I'll just talk about it. I won't necessarily name the video. So you can expect these energies to continue for a while longer. And I'm being reminded that I believe last week they said that the energy will keep on amplifying and then it'll start to level off. But even when it levels off, that's why I was saying at the beginning, these energies feel very much amplified right now. But even though they begin to level off, we will still continue to feel slightly off kilter, except it will not be as intense. It will not be as for some people it's actually scary, because sometimes it feels like you're losing your mind, but it's going to be less potent. Let's put it that way. Now, why is all of this happening? What is this happening with our minds? It's the vision that I'm being given is, imagine your mind and you have all these pieces put together, and all these puzzle pieces create your mind, your understanding of who you are. And the way I see it is all those pieces are being pulled apart. And you are the you in the center, and all those pieces that are the puzzle pieces is your identity. So you are the spirit, and then there is the identity as a human being. And pieces and bits of your identity are being literally pulled apart. And I guess another word to use for that would be there is a level of detachment that's happening. Detachment to what you believe, detachment to what you think, detachment to your ideas of life and otherwise. Imagine being a center, and around the center there is all these labels that basically tell you who you are. And imagine one by one these labels are coming off. And then there is the you in the center with that without your labels, you basically have no identity. So imagine having no identity at all. For the ego mind, which is identity, it feels somewhat scary. So when it was happening with me, I had that feeling before. So when it was happening this time, it wasn't as scary. It's just uncomfortable. So what was shown to me is like a you know how you go to a car wash and your car gets clean? We're going through a mind wash. Our minds are being cleared. We are essentially clearing clutter from our mind. And what does clutter do? Well, it takes up space. And when there is a lot of clutter, then it's stuffy, it's uncomfortable. It's a metaphor, of course, but you get the picture. So this will continue to be a time of cleanse, time of purification. And if you think about it this way, we're moving from point A to point B, where we're changing vibrations, right? And we're kind of somewhere in the middle. All of us who are listening to this video, we're kind of somewhere in the middle. So we're not here yet, but we're not here anymore. We're kind of somewhere in between. And that in between stage may feel very much like stuckness, where you're not quite sure what to do with yourself. For me personally, I have 100 ideas a minute, and then an hour later I go flat on my face. So there is this extreme flow or influx of information or of creativity, and then there is the opposite, which is I don't know if it's laziness, I don't know if it's procrastination, but there's this, I don't want to do anything, almost resistance to it. And those are the fluctuations. And I've talked about this before. And it seems like this will continue for a while longer, not as potent, thank God. So that's what we have to look forward to. Now, for those of us who are at home, who are segregating or practicing social distance, this dismantling, if you will, of our mind couldn't have come at a better time. Because imagine going through your regular activities, going to work, doing everything that you used to do before the virus, and on top of it having to deal with this feeling probably would make it somewhat much more uncomfortable. So you see how things happen, you know, things happen sometimes in disguise, and this social, what's the word I want to use, distancing is causing us to be more at home or closer to home, where we can deal with these mental fluctuations much better or much more comfortably. So there's a silver lining here. All right, what is the card that represents the energy for the next, let's say, few weeks to a few months? This is the first image that comes up. So I would welcome you just to look at it and see what comes to you right away, intuitively. The first thing I see is, of course, the horse, but the very first thing that I am drawn to is this image here of this person being pregnant. Pregnancy, of course, is signified as something being birthed, or something being in a process of gestation. Just like a female is pregnant with a being before the baby is born, from the time it's conceived, that process is called the process of gestation. So we are in this process of gestation, which means in a very short order, we are going to be giving birth. And as I say this, I want to say birthing Gaia. So this has something to do with Mother Earth, of course. All of this has everything to do with Mother Earth, or a lot to do with Mother Earth. So not only are we birthing ourselves, Gaia is birthing herself. Or should I say, because Gaia is birthing herself, it allows us to birth ourselves as we shift with her. That's interesting. Comment on that, if you will, if that makes sense to you. The next thing I see is the horse. Obviously, horse to me, well, that's interesting, because horse to me means freedom, but right away I heard willingness. So in this case, the horse represents willingness. So it's willingness to move forward with knowing that something new is about to take place. But just as you see the position of this person, to me it indicates that this person is not really in control of where she or he is going. The horse is, but the person remains on the horse, and there's a relationship going on. There's a symbiotic relationship going on. There's no lines separating the horse from the person. So there is a mutual trust going on here. You can interpret this in various different ways, in other ways, if that makes sense to you, but this to me symbolically represents willingness to keep moving forward, even though we do not know exactly where we're going, but we do know that wherever that is, we will be birthing something in a very short order. And this will mean different things to different people. To me, birthing anything, first and foremost, to me, it means birthing ourselves anew. Well, if you take the idea of having our minds dismantled, well, when you take something away, something new more often than not, comes in to fill the old space. So the birthing is mostly, I feel, about birthing ourselves. As a result of us birthing ourselves anew, new opportunities will be attracted. So this symbolically represents a beginning of a new beginning, a beginning of a new beginning. That's an interesting term. The next card has showed up quite a few times, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was last week or the week before. And some of you have commented on what you see in this card. So whatever you see, let that speak to you. To me, again, notice there is a relationship. You see two faces here. Both have a serene, peaceful look about them. And these hands are suggestive of giving and receiving. There's a flow. What this is telling me is that we are being helped. And perhaps even this being is helping us here be birthed into new. For some of you, I'm going to say it differently. How do I want to say it? We are being helped by other beings. And I believe I've said this before. We are being helped by other beings. Some of you are aware of this and have close relationship with them, hence the relationship. Some of you do not, and that's okay. Some of you may not understand what that means, and some of you may think it's crazy and preposterous, although I don't think you would be watching this channel. But anyway, there may be one or two of you. The point here is that wherever we are going, we are being helped from other realms. I keep wanting to say the word Arcturians, and I think many of you are aware of who those beings are. Some of you, again, may have a very personal relationship with them and with Pleiadians and other star systems. But the message here is trust, incidentally. Trust in the help that you are getting. Look at the next card. Even though I only see one person here, I feel like I am aware of another person whose hand I see here. So that again would suggest a relationship. All three cards, if you think about it, have a component of relationship. Okay, the horse, this being, and what I see here, two people. And if you notice here, the face speaks of peace and trust. At least that is how it speaks to me. I am very much drawn to this person's throat, and throat is obviously about communication. I feel some of you are holding back, but it's only momentary being held back. It's almost like this person, which represents us, is influenced by certain information that's coming forth, perhaps from these beings. And this person, we are trusting whatever is coming through, whatever information is coming through from other sources. And we're not quite expressing it, but I feel it's just a matter of time. So, and for some of you, this is going to be quite a huge release. It's like there's a lot of information coming through, and then it's eventually like flood, just pours out. I want to say the word channelers. So if you are a channeler, if you channel, if you're a medium, do not be surprised that you receive or end up receiving a lot of information over the next few weeks. But again, this is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very same message that I said a couple of weeks ago, I think, that there's going to be a lot of information coming in. So it seems like, again, the energy is continuing. But there is a mutual relationship going on. There's mutual trust going on. Now, I also want to say, don't trust everything you hear. And that is not to say that what you hear is not true. That is to say, use your own discernment. And this is one of the things that I was going to talk about. So thank you for reminding me. There's a lot of information all around us right now about the various reasons of this outbreak, what it means, who's behind it, who isn't behind it, who is the good guy, who's the bad guy, who's the devil, who is not. There is so much information coming in that it's really, it can be very overwhelming and very challenging to really know what's true and what isn't. And that is actually what's happening with me this last week. There was so much information coming in from various sources, including spirit, that eventually I was being guided to accept nothing, but also don't discount anything either. And I thought, well, that's a very interesting position, because what you're really asking me is to not attach myself to anything at all. And then I heard, that's correct. Now, if you think about it, I feel that's a skill. To have all this information in front of you, around you, behind you, next to you, on the side of you, and not really attach yourself into anything in particular, that's a skill, and that's a hard thing to do because we have belief systems. But perhaps this is what we are being encouraged to do. And how does that serve us? Well, it serves us, for one, we are not attached to anything in particular. And I think it serves us as not being attached into anything in particular. And as I'm kind of trying to feel it out, it's not an impossibility, but it's probably very challenging, because I'm trying to imagine myself having all this information, but not really attached to anything. And I believe that's really the thought behind Buddhism. It's not to be attached to anything. I mean, of course, I believe a gazillion % that I am more than a body, that I am a spirit. I believe in that. I'm talking about the various theories that are flying around and the various stories that different people are talking about. Which one is really true? Because if you really think about it, everything is about interpretation. Somebody might have said something that was interpreted using certain words, that then the words had a different meaning, and that created a different message. What I'm saying is, it's very difficult to know what or who to trust these days. And if you can find a way to not attach yourself to anything in particular, but at the same time, don't discount anything either as not true, see how far you can go with that. And I feel that that's a really good discipline for us to practice, because essentially it helps us become a little bit more unattached. Look at this beautiful card, the journey. This is all about us stepping onto the next path, or onto the next phase of our path. Notice there's several symbols here. The symbolism of wings, there's quite a few wings here, as you can see. So we have the wise owl. Owl is about ability to see, perceive, wisdom. These are, looks like they could be feathers or wings from the ego, which is higher perspective. I also see here an element of vulnerability, but at the same time, not allowing that vulnerability to hold us back. And that again is very interesting if you think about it, because most of the time the reason why we hold back is because we do not want to feel vulnerable, because then it's easier for us to get hurt. What I'm also drawn to here is what would be a solar plexus. There's a lot of red going on. It feels like there's a fire turning here. So our bellies are being revved up. Now, what is a belly about? Fire, manifestation, action. It's a masculine energy. It's power. And when I say our bellies are being fired up, it's like an engine is being fired up. It's starting to roar. So this is a beautiful metaphor. Thank you. I'm just getting chills. This is a beautiful metaphor of us coming more into our power, while being vulnerable at the same time. And that's not a small thing. The number 2 and 9 is 11, which is a symbol of balance. There's a symbol of justice, symbol of karma. We are leaving karma behind. Many of us are leaving karma behind. And to leave karma behind, I get it. To leave karma behind, we have to become unattached to it. And that's where the mind comes. If we can detach from our thinking, if we can detach from our current thinking and find a way to have a different belief or different thought that is more suitable to where we're heading, then that makes perfect sense to me. So 2 and 9 is it's a very stable number. 2 and 9 is 11, sorry. 11, very stable. Also, 2 is about choices, 9 is about letting go. And the way I see this message as a number is choosing what to let go of and choosing which to keep, what to keep. And we're not being asked to let go of all belief systems, because some of our belief systems are beautiful. We are being asked to detach from belief systems that are limiting us. So if, for example, we believe stories that fuel our fear, then we are just fueling more of that fear. On the other hand, if we don't necessarily believe in something as true, but we go, well, I don't know, we'll see. You leave it as a possibility, so there's less attachment to it. I hope this is translating in terms of what I'm trying to say, but I think you guys get the picture. Energetic movement. Notice this is a fast-moving energy. Fast-moving energy. And I feel like the month of May, June, July, is going to feel like fast energy. And this energy is about clearing. Now, we spoke the words clearing at the very beginning, where I was saying like we're going through a mind wash. So there's another message here that indicates movement of energy and clearing the path. Let me see what else comes through with this message. Do not be afraid to be yourself. And then for some of you, do not be afraid to be yourself again. At some point, we were ourselves, and then we decided to hold back for whatever reason. And when I say decided, the deciding often happens on a subconscious level. Where we are heading next is more of who we truly are. Where we are heading next is more of who we truly are. Okay. I guess the higher we vibrate, the closer we get to source. We are part of source. That makes sense to me. Look at the next card. Cosmic midwifery. I always have difficulty with this word. We are literally being birthed. And again, the word birthed, I can see it in my mind. It came out in last week or the week before that. So there's a theme. There's a huge theme going on here. Huge theme. I also feel the birthing process, the cosmic birthing process, is again connected to Mother Gaia and us being helped by other beings to be birthed. We're pushing the envelope. We're moving past the old structures. We are moving past our resistance blocks. Notice both of these numbers are 8. 1 and 7 is an 8. Very strong number. Okay. There's a lot of power in both of these cards, in both of these messages, and pushing past the envelope is, pushing the envelope is moving past our triggers, moving past our fears, moving past our comfort zone, literally. That's what we are doing. That's what we are doing. The card of determination is basically all about safety in what I see here. Red symbolizes root chakra, safety, security. Some of our issues around safety or security may feel amplified. Some residual old energy may be coming up to the surface as a result of this fast movement, as a result of this birthing taking place. So we might experience quite a bit of resisting, some deep subconscious resistance to moving forward towards our next journey. However, what I feel, this is all moving, this is all, how do I say it? This is not something that's going to persist for a long time. This is just a momentary blip, so to speak, in the next little while. So if you feel like you're feeling resistance, and I have been feeling resistance quite a bit, it's temporary. It's very temporary. Okay. This card of guidance came up, and whenever this card comes up, it is always asking us to be open to receive guidance. And which guidance is wonderful, but at the end of the day, here's the deal. Whatever guidance you get, you still have to check with yourself if it aligns with you. Okay? But it came to me in reverse, and sometimes I use these reverses and sometimes I don't. And when I got this in reverse is, let me just see what I get here. This is a message for somebody. I don't know who it's for, maybe a couple of you. But I want to say these words, don't be so defensive. I don't know why. I don't know why I want to say that, but I want to say don't be so defensive. And I feel it very much in my throat. So perhaps some of you have, at least in the past, received some feedback of some guidance, but you were not ready to receive it. If there's been any resistance on your part to receive guidance, I feel that's the resistance is going to be lessening. In other words, if you haven't been able to be open to guidance or to guidance, I feel that resistance is leaving you. So on the flip side of the things of the coin, I feel that many of you are ready to be guided, and for some of you is to be a source of guidance yourself. So the other message is, if you have been resisting being a source of guidance for whatever reason, then I feel you are stepping into that role much more so than any other time before. And that's a really, really good thing. So perhaps for some of you, being a guide, a source of guidance is your new journey. That's what you will be birthing. So I think that's what I get for you guys, for us. Where are we at? 33 minutes. All right. I hope this was helpful. I wasn't sure how this was going to flow, and I just said, let's just do it. Of course, if you would like a session with me or a healing session with me, I'm doing a lot of healings right now, and the feedback is out of extraordinary. If you would like to have a session with me, healing or regular session with me, that information is of course down on the bottom. If you can comment how this resonates with you, I would love to hear your comments. Again, I do have a private Facebook page, Team Joanna. There is a link on the bottom there if you would like to click and join our private Facebook page. I do a lot of things there, and I do some questions and answers. That's only for the group there. So if you would like to join us, I would love to have you. And with that said, I wish you best of luck. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.